Welcome to a walkthrough of CMS Slider with attributes. We're going to build a Webflow native slider, CMS powered by a collection list, and we're going to do it with no code. We'll be using attributes. We'll be going through the docs. We'll be going in Designer, and we'll see a collection list turn into a slider component. All right, let's look at this. We have our CMS slider. The first step for any attribute solution is going to be copy this script to the head of your site. So I will do that right away by default. I'll go in the Home, Settings. This can be applied to Site Settings head if you'd like, but that means it's going to load on every site. So if you need the CMS slider on every page, go ahead, do it in Site Settings. Otherwise, Page Settings works just fine. And we can go back to Attributes, Documentation, and see Step 2, Implement in Webflow. Okay, I want this collection list to be the dynamic content for the slider, and I want the slider component to display the dynamic content. So we need two elements here. We need our collection list, and we need our slider. Each one of these will get an attribute. We're going to add that after we look at the elements. So let's get into Designer. Let's look at the collection list that we have here on the page. I have a collection list that is nothing special. There's nothing custom about it. It is a collection list connected to my client's collection. There are 4 clients in this collection, and each one of them has some information. We have binded content to the CMS, again, all standard Webflow stuff. And this is just a really nice looking collection list in our list of 4. Excellent. So what we're going to do is, once we apply attributes, this is what's going to happen. We're going to take each one of these collection items. Let me zoom in here so you can see what this is. The FS Slider collection item. This is going to go into the slide. So for every item that you have in your list, a new slide will be created, and this item will go into the slide. That's how we create our slides, so we don't have to worry about our list here. We don't have to worry about the list wrapper. We're just taking the item, we're putting it in the slide. The first slide will serve as the template. So if I call this FS Slider Kittens, this is the class name that will be given to every single slide inside the slider. So here we have FS Slider slide. We're going to see 4 of these with the items inside. Before we apply the attributes, let's just look at what this looks like. We have an empty slider. This is just dragging it onto the page. We have some naming convention here. Everything is named FS Slider. But classes don't matter in attributes. It does not matter at all. It's all about attributes. So blank slider, collection list, nothing out of the ordinary. Now let's go and add these attributes. I'll go into the docs. We'll look into here. We have our FS CMS Slider element list. I will copy to clipboard this name. And let's go to our list element. I'm clicking on the list settings, and I will go and apply that as a custom attribute with a value of list. Nice. And now back to the docs, we need our slider. If you don't know where this is, we have a visual. Every element has a visual. Look at this, we have the blank slider. We have the slider element here. Now it's the same thing here, FS CMS Slider element, and now the value is slider. So let's go and do that to our slider. Here we have our attribute, and this will be our slider. Nice. So publishing right now is going to create our slider. There's still one more step that we have to follow. It's a CSS thing inside the native Webflow slider, but for now, let's just see this turning into a slider. It works. And we are published. Let's go reload and see this slider in action. There we go. Doesn't look how we want it to look, but this is a slider. It's been created successfully. It has our 4 items. We don't see the list below. Now, this is something we have to do to a lot of use cases of Webflow's native slider, and that is display an auto height. So I want to directly say height auto to this slider element. Now these slides are going to adjust to the size of the content within them. So once we apply this height auto, it's going to come to life. We're going to see the full thing here on the page. Okay, we're published and we can go to the live site. We'll give a nice cache reload. I'll keep cache reloading. See how fast this is working here? We see a little bit of this flashing of the dots, but this is a very fast transformation here. Let's look at what this looks like. Here we go. Nice, love it. So I have my dynamic slider. It's based on dynamic content. I can now give my client the power to go and create this really awesome dynamic slider. Cool. So I want to better visualize how this looks in the slider. Now I'll show you how we can do that. The first thing I'm going to do is copy this list. Copy the list wrapper part of it. And for the second one in the list, I'm going to apply our hide class to it. So I'm just going to have a display none on it. This will be our official list. This one's our official list. Now this one, I'm not going to make our official list. I need to remove this element because I'm just going to use this for visual purposes. Watch as I limit this to 1 item. So we have our second list as 1 item only. And what I'm going to do is go and drag this into the first slide here. There we go. So look at this. Now in Webflow, we have this 1 slide. It just has that 1 item collection list in the first one. We don't care about the second one. This is going to help me visualize what the hidden list is going to show. As long as this has the same exact styles as your hidden list, you can use this as a guide. So before I do any changes, let's just see this working. You'll see that this first slide can be whatever content you want inside. Regardless of what's in there, like this collection list, we're going to remove it and we're going to append the real content with this powerful list attribute. So let's see if this is published. It is. We're going to see it working here. Love it. And look, we even got our dot flash away. So the dot flash, I'm sure, went away because we hid that list. The list that's populating the content does not need to be visible. We're going to delete it anyway. So go ahead and apply display none to it just like we did. And you'll see that we have our normal slider here. This is all good. This is exactly what we want. And I can now use this as a visual guide. That's the beauty of using the Webflow native slider. There are other slider options out there. You can use other libraries to do it, but then you lose this beautiful, beautiful capability of seeing what you're doing visually here. So look at this. Now I can visually say, I want it to look like this. Yeah, that's it. Let's just make some room over here for these. And when this is published, we'll see that we can share styles here inside the slide. So we can style this item element to fit through the slide, and then we can do the slide, style the mask, style the slider to make it exactly what we want. And we are live. Let's see the separation between these arrows. There we go. So this is how to implement. We just went through creating this CMS-powered slider, and we saw a really great way to help visualize your slider with the actual list that you are working with. Awesome. This is CMS Slider. You are now a pro using CMS Slider with attributes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.